My leg is currently balancing the curtain to try and sort this lighting out, and I'm on the floor. I'm kind of been a bit eager. I haven't really decided what I'm going to film, but if you haven't met me before, hi, my name's AJ. Lovely to meet you, and welcome.
I go to war, I'll fight for you. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky.
My hair is still drying from my shower earlier, so please excuse the puffy. I am currently on my little holiday in Cornwall and I'm sat on the floor. I'm drinking a gin and tonic. Although it's 4 o'clock and I did prepare this at 1. So yeah, so I apologise for the lighting because the way I'm kind of sat is not directly facing the lighting. I think that I'm going to film some kind of wrap up I did want to do a June wrap up of all the books, obviously self-explanatory, that I read in June. However, the video probably wouldn't go up until like August, so I don't know if that's a bit too late. Maybe I'll just do, it'll probably be a June wrap up, but I'm just gonna be like books I read in summer and then do part 1, part whatever until I get to the end. So if you want to know what books I have been reading, keep watching. I'm going to do it on my iPad though because there is basically next to no internet here, and so it's not loading on my phone, my Goodreads. So I'm hoping it will load on my iPad. Okay. Oh no, the internet's not working there too. Excuse me folks, we have technical difficulties. Let me put you on hold.
As long as you say it, so tell me that you love me.
Wait, did I take screenshots of it the other day? Okay, so I took a screenshot of it. So we'll start with, so I know I've done no wrap-ups this entire year, so if you want to know what I was reading before summer, have a stalk of my Goodreads. I'm pretty sure it's in the description of every video. So I'm just going to begin talking about the books I read in June and then carry on if I need to. Not, I don't know man. This is books I've been reading over summer. The last book I read in May, you know, let's just chuck this in, why not? Also, I don't have any of these books, so if I have the energy inside me, I will put pictures of them up. If I don't, I won't. I'll give you the names and the authors and my ratings. You should be able to find it from there. The last book I read in May was Healing the Heart by Courtney Peppernil, and this, I read a lot of poetry. This is like Pillow Thoughts Part 2, so she's quickly becoming one of my favourite poets. I love everything she writes, so I obviously read Pillow Thoughts beforehand and then would have moved on to this one. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. Basically, I just loved it. A lot of poetry books are like wafer thin. I don't really know what else to say about it other than like it was really good. Obviously the different sections, I would say I think I preferred Pillow Thoughts to Healing the Heart, but obviously they are on different topics, so like you know, with her 2 books as well that I've read, I've like annotated them, just written in them because I felt like they really evoked things in me that I would want to like highlight, underline, or like write something, you know. And then book number 1 that I read in June, The Girl and the Goddess by Nikita Gill. I got this in my Books with a Conscience box. My friends Katie and Joe run, mainly Katie, Joe assists, and it's where basically every month they choose a book for you and you pay a certain amount. There's like different tiers and you get a hardback book each month, and the extra money goes towards a charity, and they pick one each month, one that's like important to them. They'll give you a little fact sheet all about the charities and what they'll do with the money. So I love that, and yeah, so I read that. Again, 4 out of 5 stars. So this, it's set in like, is it Hindi mythology? Kind of. I'm pretty sure the main character is called Paro, and it's kind of like half poetry, half story, and it's kind of just about like her life growing up, and then also it's like kind of her realizing her sexuality as well, which I loved, and just her identity as an Indian woman growing up, and also dealing with, there's like, look at the trigger warnings as well for this book, but I feel like so many people would benefit from reading this. She just articulates her thoughts in a way that I don't think many people can. Let me stop messing with my hair. But yeah, so I would really recommend that. Josh Bailey, if you're watching, I think you would enjoy this book. So I got Kindle Unlimited in June, and I was like reading a bunch of books from that, I still am, and a bunch of poetry books I'd wanted to get but like were kind of expensive, so I hadn't, and if they were on Kindle Unlimited I would read them. And also I was trying to get into, I made like a TBR from TikTok, and maybe I'll film that afterwards. I made a TBR from TikTok basically, and I wanted to read a bunch of books from there. However, they're quite like SMUT heavy, and I was like, I need to intersperse this with poetry to like even out. I don't know, man. So I read She Was the Storm by Cherry Averett. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. And then I read Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. Everybody on BookTok loves this. Do you mind? I didn't dislike it, but I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which is like, it was good, but it wasn't like great, and it wasn't my favorite. You know, it was good. The main characters were kind of interesting, and like, it had some really like quotable bits from it, but I'm not like, you know, bending over backwards to make all my friends read it, you know? But I know that some people really love it. I think a lot of people, if they don't like it because they think the main character is really selfish, but I'm also like, meh, not selfish, but like she's a bit two-faced. And I'm like, yes, I agree, she is, and that does also annoy me. But then I'm also like, I know that the author has created that character to come across that way because it's something that we all kind of do, like just wanting to fit in and like putting others down to elevate yourself. And so I feel like maybe it annoyed a lot of people because it like is almost like a mirror onto some bad parts of yourself, you know? But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Obviously the smut was great. Misha, do kind of love him a bit. Do kind of love Misha, but not enough to give it more than 3. Then I read For When She's Feeling Blue by Edgar Holmes. Gave that 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked that. They all kind of blend into one. I feel like I'm not very good at summarizing poetry books because I feel like I just want people to read them. I don't know, man. But it is what it says on the tin, for when you're feeling blue. And I really enjoyed it. I wish I had the internet to like look at, do you mind? To look at the like highlights I have from each of these. That would be so good if I could, but I can't. Damn it, that's so annoying. Now that I've said that, I'm like, oh. Anyway, maybe it's a blessing in disguise because I feel like if I gave you clips from it, this video would be way too long and it would spoil things. And then I read another poetry book, which was Bright Minds, Empty Souls by Janae, Cecilia. Again, 3 out of 5 stars. Loved it. Did find a lot of quotable things. It wasn't my favourite poetry book ever, but I just feel like with poetry, I want as much poetry as I can get. Like, not all poetry is going to obviously blow your mind, but I just think like poetry as an art form itself is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I think more people should read poetry because often it has a habit of putting into words things that you can't describe yourself. And so even if I read one book and I'm like, oh, the whole thing's 3 out of 5 stars, like there would have been something in there that would have caught my attention and that would be important to me, and I would have like folded a page down or like highlighted it on Kindle or something. Just all poetry I kind of just love anyway as a concept. Anyway, then I read another Edgar Holmes book, which was Her Favourite Colour Was Yellow. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars, as well as his other book. Couldn't tell you why. Clearly I liked it. Next, I read another poetry book called I Am More Than My Nightmares, again by Janae, Cecilia. Gave that 3 out of 5 stars. Again. And this was all because I was trying to read a dark romance book that I had been recommended on TikTok called Den of Vipers, and if you have read it, it is basically all sex, dark romance sex, and reverse harem sex, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. I don't think dark romance is for me. However, if you are a fan of dark romance, look at Kenzie's videos on TikTok, and now I don't know how to pronounce her second name. I'm pretty sure you spell it Buscher. Buscher. Also, if there's rain in the background, I apologise, it is pouring with rain. She loves dark romance and she has really good recommendations if you're into that stuff. The reason I read so much poetry was because I would literally read some of Den of Vipers and then be like, I need some poetry to calm me down. Read some more poetry, read some more. So I literally read like obviously like 5 poetry books in the middle of reading Den of Vipers. It's not that I didn't like the characters, I did, but I just don't think dark romance is for me. This girl Roxy kind of gets kidnapped by these like, I'm guessing that they're like mafia type people, but they never called it mafia. I don't know, man. Anyway, she's like very angry about it all. Basically ends up having relations with all 4 guys. So like very steamy if you want that. But there were parts when I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm like fully comfy with this. But I do understand that obviously people that like read dark romances doesn't mean that like, yeah, I agree with everything that goes on here, you know? Just like you watch, I don't know, Game of Thrones doesn't mean that you're like 100% backing every single event that happens. Like obviously some of it you're a bit like, oh, don't know how I feel about it. But yeah, loads of people end up highlighting all the like romantic, wisdomy. A lot of times I just highlight things that like make me laugh. I do highlight a lot of the like wisdomy type things. From Den of Vipers, one of the things I highlighted that did make me laugh was she was trying to do something and I think she was trying to like beat down a door or something. I asked one of the security guys to do it and he was like, why are you asking? And she says, I could try be your like woman, hear me roar, or I could be super smart and let a big tough guy like you do it for me. Obviously she's being sarcastic as hell, but just when she was like, I could be your I'm woman, hear me roar, for some reason that made me absolutely howl. Anyway, we have 1,000 boy kisses. I don't know whether I have a heart of stone. I didn't cry. I think I maybe cried like a single tear at this. Did I say it was by Tilly Cole? Anyway, it is very emotional and everyone else I know that has read this has sobbed their eyes out from the get-go. So maybe I just don't have a soul, but I do love this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was really, really good. What are some of the quotes I have from it? Also, I love the way that well, she calls her mama, her grandma, talks about like dying. She says, this isn't our true home, girlie, this life. Well, it's a great big adventure while we have it. An adventure to enjoy and love with all of our heart before we go on to the greatest adventure of all. Stop it. And I love how much they love the cherry blossoms in it, oh my gosh. Basically, it's about Poppy and Rune, Poppy Min. They're like childhood best friends. The trope would be like childhood best friends to lovers, I guess. Childhood best friends, then he has to move away when they're like 15 and they were dating at this point and she ghosts him when he goes and you don't find out why. Sorry, fuck it, I'm just tying my hair up. You don't find out why straight away, but he ends up coming back and it's them kind of like it goes to enemies for a bit before like it moves on. I don't think I believe in soulmates, but like boo boo, this could change my mind, you know, like Poppy and Rune. Honestly, most people don't like Rune because they're like he's just like angry for what, like, but I understand why he's angry and broody and all of that. I love them both. This is a, I would say, young adult romance rather than like a new adult romance. If you want a good cry, read this. If you want to, like, it is so beautiful. And also Poppy's outlook on life I have massive respect for. It really does like make you sit and like take stock of everything around you and like really appreciate things you've got right now. I did love that. I did love that book. The next book I read was Playing with Fire by Lj Shen, and that was, again, I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. Really liked this book. Didn't know anything about it going in. Obviously I should have from the title. Oh my god, what's the other guy's name? Oh, it's something stupid like West, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's West. I've fully made a Spotify playlist with songs about them. It's called Grace and West. So how did I not? This had the perfect balance of like kind of being enemies to lovers but not really enemies, but kind of just kind of like standoffish at the start, and both having like their own demons, and he's like, you know, bad boy whatever, and she's like, I don't want to give a synopsis because I went into this not knowing anything, and so I think you should too, because that's normally what I do for most books. This had the perfect combination of like angst and humour. I found Grace to be so sarcastic and witty. I loved it to pieces, and yeah, it's also the first Lj Shen book I've ever read, so yeah, but I enjoyed it. So if you're like me and prior to this year you would have been like, romance books, get out of here, hate it, fantasy all the way, this was very like romance through and through. That is what it is, but not like sappy in like a way that you're going to be like, oh cringe. It was funny, it was entertaining, I just think it was great. And then the next book I read was Falling for the Backup, which is a novella, which was like part of the Assassins series by Tony Alio. If you don't know my Tony Alio adventure, Tony Alio is an author who's basically like the queen of hockey. Like all of her books are about hockey pretty much. Has she written any not about hockey? I don't think so. The story goes, I was on TikTok, this was just after I'd read the off-campus books, best books ever, got me into NHL ice hockey. Stanley Cup ended like a week ago and I'm still in recovery. Anyway, I'd read Off-Campus and Briar U and was in a massive book slump, tried to read a bunch of other hockey books, couldn't really get into them. Literally nothing was reaching the standard of Off-Campus for me. What did I read? I read Shameless King by, is it Maya Hughes? Felt nothing. It was a good book, but I just felt nothing for the characters, like I didn't care what happened to them. And some people, I made a TikTok about it basically, and I was like, what are your recommendations? Like, this is really annoying me. And some people were like, oh, you should read Tony Allio's books. And then Tony Allio commented on the video and was like, you should read Tony Allio books because she's great. So I read the first book in the Assassin's series, what's it called? Taking Shots, I think, about Shay and Ellie. And I remember literally 4 chapters in, I was like, I'm feeling emotions for these characters. Like, I was like, I care about them. I'm like really enjoying this. Honestly, from then, chef's kiss. Read the entire books in the Assassins series. Made my mother read them. So the books, they're like hockey romance books, but like people who are kind of like between 25 to like 30-ish, and they've got smut in it, and my mum reads romance books that have smut in it. And I was like, Jane, I really think that you should read these books. And I kind of want to make her read off campus now that I know that she likes these other books, but I felt like this was a better place to go because it was more like age range that she enjoys. Anyway, made her read that entire series, and now we have moved on to the Nashville Assassins series. So it's kind of Assassins as well, like it kind of all just carries on. We've just read the book about Philip, which is, what's it called? Breaking Away something? Yeah, Breaking Away. We're like swapping between the Nashville Assassin series and the Bellevue Bully series, like as per people's recommendations. So now we've moved on to the book about Claire, which is the first book in the Bellevue Bully series, which is the like college sport romance series. On like, honestly, that entire world, I love this woman with my heart and soul. And she like comments on my TikToks like about her and like puts them on her Instagram stories, and oh my god, I just love her books, love her characters, everything about her characters. I think they're impeccable. None of the characters are the same. Yes, it is like cheesy romance, and like there are some things that I'm like, oh, could that be a little bit toxic, a little bit misogynistic, but like I love her books. Honestly, all of the different tropes in each of the different books, love the way the characters interact, love literally everything. Tick, 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 tick. Me and my mother are having the time of our lives. Anyway, back to the point. So I read the novella for that, and then I read the final book in the Assassin series, Blue Lines. I gave both of those 4 out of 5 stars, literally loved it. Is Blue Lines about Piper and Eric? If it is, I think Piper is the one that I feel like I am the most like. Eric, I didn't like Eric. I know that, you know, there's no reason I shouldn't like Eric, but like I didn't like Eric. I know at the end he gets better and whatever, but I'm like, it wasn't my favourite man. But I get that's the point. Like if you had every single guy be like a Shea Weber guy, it's not going to be entertaining. You need to spice it up a bit. And Eric provided that. Then I read Red Roses for My Love by Edgar Holmes. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars instead of 4 out of 5 stars because I don't feel for me that it was as good as his other books. But again, enjoyed it. Then this is still in June, by the way. I read a lot. How many books is that? I've told you about 13 books so far from June, and then the 14th would be from the one I talked about from May. Then I read the technical first book in the Nashville Assassin series, as kind of also following on from the Assassin series. It definitely is, called Breaking Away, the one that is about Reese and Philip. Oh my god. Book boyfriend of the month, Philip Anderson. Please, this man. I give that 5 out of 5. I loved it. I truly loved it. This was the like kind of pretty much the first one that I really was like kind of book club reading with my mum. I loved it so much. And then I read still going. Then I read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Marianas Zapata. 4 out of 5 stars. Very slow burn. I was told it was slow burn, but I didn't realise how slow burn it was. Dear sweet lord, it's a slow burn book, but I loved it. I loved Vanessa. Like, I just think she was impeccable. I found Aidan's character really interesting because I don't think I've ever read about a character like that. He took strong silent type to another level, but I really liked it. I don't know why, like this was the first book by this author that I'd read and I loved it so much that the first book that I read in July was about a side character from that book. I literally made a TikTok and I was like, somebody please tell me that there is a book about this character, about Zach Travis, because I am obsessed with this man from The Wall of Winnipeg and Me and I want him to have a book. And everyone's like, yes, let me put you on, hands down. So then I read Hands Down by Mariana Zapata and gave it 5 out of 5 stars because oh my god, I'm obsessed with this man. And I've literally forgotten the girl's name because he calls her Pee-wee. It wasn't slow burn. What would the trope be? Like childhood best friends to strangers slash not really enemies, but like, and then to LOVEERS. Loved it. Cannot express to you enough my love for Big Texas. But I think it was great. Also, I love how my videos, I literally don't explain the books at all. I'm just like, yeah, I read this, it was great. Gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read this. However, I think I'm gonna shut up there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just me rambling on about the books I read. That is all from me for today. I am gonna love you and leave you. I hope you all had an amazing day, and I will see you hopefully next Monday with another video. Bye.